you don't mind, let me bring her in real quick. All right?
Okay.
And just sit
All
tight,
right.
dear. Thank you so much. Sit tight.
All right.
All right. Well, how you doing, my Australian friend? How you doing?
I look really jacked up right now
We ain't
because
worried about that right now. You know what I'm saying? We ain't worried about that
I've
right
had a
now. We just
really
want to hear
bad
your
day with
story.
like
We just worry about the
trauma
story.
memories and
All right,
stuff.
so you down there in Australia. What time is it right now?
12:26 in the afternoon.
12:26 in the afternoon. Okay, 7:26 down here. So I don't know how many hours it is. I ain't good at math. But go ahead, talk to me. What you want to share with me?
Well, see, CPS in Australia it's completely different. Like I grew up in a house that, like, I had two older brothers, and they used to beat the absolute shit out of me. Like, I mean, beat the shit out of me. And my parents allowed it. My parents would hold my arms back so I couldn't fight back to do anything to, defend myself. My brother started using ice at about, I don't know, I was about 14 years old, and the police were at my house every day. Not once did CPS come. Not once did I get interviewed. Not once did I get taken to a hospital. Not once did anybody check on me. At 14 through to 17, I was molested by his boss. Nobody did anything. It was just nobody cared. And the reason why, because I grew up in a family that was well known, that had a name behind it, and nobody gave a shit. I can't sit here and justify CPS taking children away from parents who are doing absolutely nothing wrong. Yet there's children in danger, there's teens in danger, there's teens getting molested, they're getting raped, they're getting abused in so many ways. And what's happening?
So even down, so even where you at in Australia, if somebody got a name, a lot of these stories get thrown under the rug, like it ain't never happened. So even down in Australia.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's fucking amazing.
That's the saddest thing about it, and it's still even today. Like my niece, she is with a foster family now. Thank God, they're angels. I mean, absolute angels. And it took 23 phone calls and my 2-year-old niece being sold to grown men for them to do
sold.
Anything. Yes, and my own daughter, who is now 10, had to be interviewed by the head of the sexual crime division because my niece said that my daughter was involved. Yeah, I had no idea. So there's no justification inside of it.
What happened with that? With your 10-year-old, had to talk to them. What happened with that?
It came out that I obviously took her for the interview. It was, I'm taking you. We need to find out what's going on. From what they gathered, there was no credible evidence whatsoever. Okay. But at the end of the day, credible evidence or not, if something's coming out of a child's mouth, especially one who has been sold, her pictures were found on the dark web, things like that, I find a credible witness in a child like that, not one who's being coerced into situations. Like there's a really interesting documentary on YouTube at the moment, and it was made in the 80s, and it was about psychologists who are actually coercing children into saying my mum did this and my mum did that. Whereas a child who actually has been through it, the terminology they use is very different. Very, very different. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And you've got all these kids being taken for absolutely no reason whatsoever and coerced into this language that they don't even know. So how can they justify doing what they're doing?
So it don't sound like it's much different from the United States to overseas.
Well, Australia's a pedophile haven. It's known to be a pedophile haven. There's a group of like 75,000 people who are trying to make it that their belief is that it's the adult who is causing the pain to the child after abuse because they're putting shame on the child, so the child feels shame. There's a group of 75,000 people minimum in Australia who believe that.
So let me ask you this. Let's go back to what you said about, and thank God your daughter's okay. She is okay, right? God. She's okay, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Beautiful. 10 years old. I can imagine. 10 years old, and just like hearing Miss Thomas, her story, your son coming there talking somebody stuck stuff up his butt. I'm like, look, kids know somebody playing with them. So, I mean, I don't get that glass stuck up your butt. I think they were hurt. Okay, they were hurt. So
there'd be physical evidence of that happening, and a child would be complaining about that. They would have to see.
Exactly. I know if I would have shot somebody sticking glass in my ass, I'll be complaining about it. But you know,
like as
wow.
I said, I had a conversation this morning. Like, I've been raped in the past 10 years twice by 2 different men, and I know for a fact that that's brutal. It's brutal, and I know for a fact that myself being an adult, that I had to see a doctor because of the brutality of that. But that's what happened to a child. I'm sorry, but there would be undeniable evidence everywhere.
Thank you. That's why she said, you know, did y'all do a rape kit or anything, blood or anything? I mean, glass. Exactly. We talking about glass. We talking about glass, you know? So
there'd be physical blood dripping from his
I would like to think so, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yet you've got in Australia here, like my niece, for example, CPS was trying to do, you know, get her back with her mother and, you know, do all this. Yet instead of going back with the mother, because the mother likes to smoke ice more than she likes to shower, they sent her to the mother's sister's house, where then she got assaulted by the mother's, the brother-in-law, her uncle. She came back and she told CPS this. She had physical bruises. She had everything. Did they charge him? No. Why? Because the detective said, unless they admit it, we can't do anything. So unless the perpetrator admits that they've actually done something to a kid, they won't do shit.
Unless the perpetrator admit that they did it. So are you telling me that down there in Australia, could be possibly down here too, the kid can't complain? Well. The kid can't complain, some things going on, but they won't do anything unless the perpetrator comes out and say, yes, I played with his or her bum. Yes, I sexually molested her and all this stuff. They had to come out and say that they did it.
That was told to me by the head of the child sexual assault department.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope. Unfortunately, that's how it is. That's why Australia is known as the pedophile haven.
Like, somebody gonna really admit that, though.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I'm sorry, but if a child has clear signs and they've done rape kits, they've done everything that they need to do, they're not coerced into answering questions, they're not, you know, if they've come out and they've got clear-cut evidence of what happened, you charge them. You put them in general population. You let the other prisoners deal with them. You don't sit there and protect them like they're some, you know, God who is untouchable, because that's disgusting to me. It's disgusting. But we look at the government, and there's a news story out today. And in our own Parliament House, there was a girl who was raped in a Parliament House who works there, and she had to decide whether she was going to report it or keep her job. That's what we look at here.
So when you was 14 to 17, if I remember that you told me earlier, and I'm assuming you actually came out and said what happened, you said they didn't do... You say they didn't do anything. What did they say to you when you try to report it? What exactly did they say to you?
I never reported it.
Oh, wow. You didn't?
No, because I grew up with people who were beating the shit out of me, I was going to private schools. I grew up with like 24-karat gold spoons in my mouth. You know what I mean? And it just, to me, it was normal.
Oh, God.
But growing up, and going to therapy and trauma therapy and things like that, and realizing that, hold on, at 14 years old, having the shit beaten out of me every day, my brother's boss coming to my house and molesting me, and sitting at my dinner table with my family every night, that was normal. That was quite normal for me. And that's sad. That's so sad. I don't remember 13 before that, my childhood. Don't remember it at all.
So pretty much everybody knew what was going on. They just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, like I've been crying today, obviously. I had a chat with my father this morning, and he basically denied everything that had happened to me. And I can't sit there and justify that, because at the end of the day, if you're an alcoholic and you're drinking that much, what do you remember? Like, I don't drink. I don't do any of that, all because of what I grew up with.
Here's what I say. I say about that a lot of time in my streams, and I'm surprised you ain't crying now. No. But that's what I say a lot of time on stream, where parents allow stuff like that to happen. They don't give a shit about you. It's almost like to the point they hate they even got a child for that to allow that to even happen.
I've got 2 older brothers, and they were treated like, my eldest brother is the golden child of the family. He can't do no wrong. My middle brother's currently in jail for the 3rd time. Not on rape charges, not on child molestation charges. None of it. None of it. He's in there for going and finding his ex and beating the shit out of her. How can you justify our criminal justice system, our child protection system, when this happens? Like, it's just, I can't justify it.
So pretty much what it sounds like to me, your whole family has just been abusive, period.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the older I got, I felt guilty. I felt very guilty for wanting to cut them out and things like that. And then my therapist said to me one day, he goes, you know, the person who raped you, would you sit down and say that they're a great guy or agree with somebody when they sat with you and said he's a great guy? Absolutely not. He goes, so why do you have to justify that with your own family? I said, you're right. Like, that's a good point. Why should I have to justify it?
You know, it's amazing it's amazing you telling this story, but it's kind of tough to hear it. And I got to give you credit. You kind of brave telling this story because a lot of people ain't just got the heart or the guts to tell this story because it's a motherfucking ridiculous to hear this what's going on.
Hard. Like, I sleep for like 2 hours a night because I can't sleep. If I sleep, I dream trauma. It's not fun. It's something I'll live with for the rest of my life, unfortunately. But so I think getting stories out there and allowing people a voice, I think it helps a lot. A lot.
And that's what I say, and I try to make people understand that, you know, I'm not a counselor by any sort, but I open my platform for y'all to speak out.
Absolutely.
Now, just because I'm not a counselor don't mean who's somebody who make it counsel you not listening. You may got somebody who's listening right now and who
you don't even need a degree to be a counselor. See, that's the good thing about it.
But, you know, somebody who probably can help you through this times of need or whatnot, you know. I mean, somebody probably listening and they probably come to me like, say, hey, Chris, you talked to this lady the other day, you know, how can I get in contact with? Okay, cool. Here's an email, you know what I'm saying? Reach out to her, you know. I don't know, you seen the interview that I did with the man named Doug. Doug is an he's a guy who's against human trafficking. And we talked about.
I was almost sold at 14 because of my brother's drug debt. Like,
you was almost who?
Hiding
you was almost who? You was almost who for 4 days? Say it again.
I was almost sold for a drug debt at 14.
You were sold for drug. You were sold for drug
debt.
I
had to go into 14. Hiding at 14 years old because of my brother's drug debt. Yeah.
And again, I gotta say, you know, you coming up here smiling. The eyes just shining.
What else can you do?
Hey, you smiling. My eyes just shining.
Face, trust me.
I got to give you a salute that you got the heart to even tell this, because a lot of people, probably even man, talking about this could cause triggers.
Oh yeah, it triggers me every day. I mean, I've got 2 kids and I look at it and I'm like, thank God that I learned the lessons that I learned. And as much as it's harmed me and it's changed the way that I think and I look at the world and I look at people, it's given me the opportunity to teach these lessons to my kids. And I'm very big on, my son's 12, my daughter's 10. And I'm very big on consent with my son. I'm very big on, you know, if you heard the word no, you stop instantly. You hear the word stop, you stop. Like, it's that simple. And I honestly think that more people need to be more aware of consent in general. It's just, I don't know, there's so much I could say, but it's just.
Well, I might need to do a part 2 with you, because you'd have been through some stuff there, and it's a lot
and
of y'all.
Continuing.
And it's a lot of y'all, even like I said, even the men, because me and Doug, we talked about the men in human trafficking. He said, I forget exactly what place he named, but he's like, you know, men do get trafficked, and it's a place where it's a higher percentage of that. But by us being men, you know, we're ashamed to talk about it. So I would like to hear more men talk about situations like this, but us being men, you know, we hide and we don't like to show this because some way we're going to be judged. Yeah.
And it shouldn't be a stigma. There should be no stigma around a woman beating a man. You know, a man beating a woman, a man being raped, molested, a child, a boy. It should be no stigma. Whether you are a man or a woman, you're being abused. It is that simple. And there's no shame in something that you did not cause, because you did not cause yourself to be abused. And that's something that I've taken. It's taken me years to actually believe that, because it was my fault. It was, I deserve this. It was, you know, all of the negatives that came with it.
You said that earlier. I remember you said that earlier, you know, you said you feel like it was your fault. So I have to ask you, as the person that you are today,
Nope.
How was you able to break yourself from that cycle and free yourself? Say this wasn't my fault. This is all their fault. How did you cope with that? How did you break yourself from that?
It took me years, literally, like in the past 12 months, it's taken me to believe that, like, I've had therapists and things like that who have been fantastic, but I think it comes with an awakening within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, my faith has gone in and out like you would not believe. Like, I've hated God to the point of cursing him out. And there's days where I'm literally crying and begging him just to take pain away. But I think it comes to self-realization that as a person, we're worth more. We're not worth shit on the ground. We're not worth, the absolute worst of the worst. We're not worth that. We were not brought on this earth to be that. We're worth more than that. And I think as a mum myself, because I'm a single parent, and I look at my kids and I'm like, you know what? No, it wasn't my fault, because if somebody was to hurt my kids, I'd kill them. I would kill them. I don't care who you are. You touch my kids and I will kill you. And if it comes down to the fact of I need to believe that to show my daughter that she needs to believe that, that's all it took.
Gotcha. I guess the last question I'll ask you for now, unless you want to stay on, I can come back to you later. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but I would like to know the relationship with the children's father. How is that right now?
It was good. We had a fantastic co-parenting relationship up until about a year ago, where he met his new partner. Like, every other partner has been fantastic. But this new one, I don't know what went wrong, but he now hasn't seen his children for over 12 months. So, yeah.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of people down here in the USA, they talk about this, and I'm pretty much sure you probably tell me this now. Does the new partner have any children?
She's pregnant.
She's pregnant now. Child. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, with his child.
Because I know a lot of women say, okay, you got your child here, but you take care of this person's child way better than you take care of your own child. I hear that a lot. So. Wow, dear. I don't know what to say. I wish I knew the words to make all this magic.
I'm not a vengeful person. Like, we split up and we had a terrible relationship. He would admit that too. We were great friends, obviously, up until this new partner came in. But I am hoping that changes soon. As I say, a daughter needs their dad and a son needs their dad. And I've never been one to say, you're not seeing your kids, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. It's always been, just let me know if you're going to pick them up from school.
So you are leaving the door open for him to be in the kids' life.
Always. Absolutely. All right. Always have, always will.
All right. I like to hear that. I need to bring you back because I want to know how to, if you got answers to that, how does the child support system works down there in Australia. But we'll say that for another show right now. Other than that, dear, if you want to stay, I could bring you back later. You got some things you got to do. You go ahead and do your thing and whatnot.
School today, so I'm going to go see what they're yelling at each other.
Okay, dear. Black Rose, thank you so much, love. And we'll email each other later, okay?
I'll be in contact via email.
Yeah, I got you.
Awesome.
All right,
guys. Have a good day.
You too, dear. You too. Wow.
Bye.
Man, I don't wish they don't know about it. That's the craziest shit I ever heard right there. Jesus Christ.